Good morning and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I'm John, the host. You guys are the audience with the most, and let's get right down to business because my next video that I'm uploading was what I filmed last night, and it's a bit of a long discussion, but that's what's coming next. Having to do a little bit with patriotism. But this video is about action. It's about actions that are taken and the reactions that come from it, and how that can affect us, will affect us, and shit hits the fan. Additionally, how it's taking us there quicker. We as preppers need to be prepared, hence prepping. You know, it used to be something would happen and we go, oh, that'll have consequences someday. Well, as we accelerate towards shit hitting the fan, the consequences, or rather the reactions, cause and effect, are coming at a much quicker click. Someone says something, someone does something. Someone says something, someone does something. It's not someone says something and a couple of weeks later a political decision is made or a business decision is bent in a different direction and kind of affects things. Now it happened, or it was said and it happened. Now, I've got some great examples of this. Trump threatened Turkey. He said, hey, you guys want to do something with Syria, which you said you wouldn't, and guess what? We'll trash your economy. Within hours of the president's threat, and I think it was a threat, right? They started having problems with their currency and their markets. And just a couple hours later, it was resolved. Very fascinating. It was a action-reaction, very fast. I've got another one for you. There was an NBA player. He decided to tweet something in support of the Hong Kong protesters. Well, guess what? Beijing, bam, cut him. You're done. CCTV, which is not closed-circuit television, security cameras. That happens to be the Chinese. Like their NBC, it's their main network, their BBC. The CCTV, they cut the NBA from their programming roster. Whoops. From one tweet from one player on the Houston Rockets. Done. Action, reaction. They pulled the tweet. Nope. It's done. Let's go with this one. Oh, yeah. A couple of days ago. It wasn't more than just a couple of days ago. The entire press in the United States is splashing. Trump did this, Trump did that, Trump in Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. I've been shouting for at least a week. Joe Biden did exactly what Trump is saying. He's being accused of. I'm not the only channel, of course. Many, many channels, but Trump is saying it. And then all of a sudden, bam, America kind of flips. Americans want the Bidens investigated. Trump is being threatened with impeachment by Congress. Real action. Americans, not so much care, right? But they flip. Americans are flipping. Right? It seems like it's an all of a sudden thing. And I know that sometimes it is, and sometimes it just appears that way. But hey, here's one. Trump was saying, China's good. Everything's fine. We're all good buddies here. Right? We're going to get this trade deal, yada, yada, more of this hopium. In fact, what did we have? We had Kudlow, who is the financial advisor to the president, Larry Kudlow, mouthpiece for MSNBC or CNBC. I mean, I never paid attention to Kudlow. I don't care what he has to say. But he was talking up everything, and the market went up. It was incredible. Who listens to Kudlow? Anyways, they came out, Trump did, and said, hey, look, there's going to be a tech blacklist because of the theft of proprietary knowledge, intellectual property. In China, instantly, bam, you want to say something, there's a cost to it, there's a reaction. China's saying, hey, trade deal's basically off, we're walking, we're not liking how things are going, we're done. Europe, they're really pissed off that Trump wants to come out of Syria. They're all pissy about it. They don't want to pay for it. They don't want to deal with it. And what happens? Well, a Syrian immigrant shouting words about Allah. It was interesting, the news story I read. They didn't say Allah Akbar, which is, I believe, what they say when they're going to, Allah is great is what the translation is, while they commit a terror act or an act of jihad. They scream that God is great or Allah is great. He did this and drove his truck and plowed it into other trucks. Apparently it was observed that he could have killed a lot more people if he just plowed into pedestrians. But Germany and other countries appear weak to the terrorists, to Middle Easterners, and they attack. There's an action, talking Trump down. Trump is tough, they're not, and they attack weak. Action, reaction. And finally, I'll end my examples, because I didn't just want to give one or two examples and say, see, it's a trend. I wanted to point to a lot of things. Right now, Great Britain or England, United Kingdom, what do they want to be called? I know it's United Kingdom. We call them Brits, and the country's England. I love my brothers and sisters across the pond, all of them in Europe. They're great. A lot of great, awesome people. Okay, I talk to them from time to time, so it's my opinion. Good people are everywhere. How's that? We've got the Brexit deal going on. England, the UK, wants out of the European Union 100%. And they voted for it, they agreed to it, and the government is stalled. In other words, the deep state in England doesn't want out. And the European Union is like, well, you can't get out. What happened to sovereignty? And I believe Russia, the Soviet Union, and the United States have agreed to arms treaties, and then they just go, fuck it, we're breaking the treaty. And treaties are broken all the time. All the EU is, the European Union is a treaty. England could break it like that and say, you know what? F you, we're not playing your fucking games anymore. Right? But they've been trying to be nice about it, and they're trying to do a deal to get England out. The EU is a net loss for England. In other words, they don't get the benefit out of it. They pay money to be in a union that doesn't benefit them as much as it costs. Right? It doesn't create more business for them. Which was the promise. Oh, we're all going to trade a lot more and we're all going to be happy with it. Well, this week, the EU started talking smack about BJ, Boris Johnson, essentially their president, prime minister, right? We have a president here. Some countries have presidents, some have prime ministers. They talked a bunch of crap about him. Well, guess what? Boris Johnson has said, look, whether we have a deal or no deal with the EU, we're going to leave. The reaction could be, ultimately, no deal. You want to talk shit about the prime minister, someone you're trying to do business with? And this is what we're seeing everywhere, is a bunch of smack talk. People having opinion. Now, it's interesting, right? You say something bad at work, your action, the reaction is you get fired now. Everything is getting faster, 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 faster. It's speeding up. It's speeding up. The reactions are instant. So last year, it wouldn't have mattered. A couple of years ago, who cares? Now when you say something, when something is done, the reactions are coming much quicker. It's almost like you could say a knee-jerk reaction. You could say it's a visceral reaction, emotional reaction, or perhaps nations, countries, businesses, and people. They're fed up, right? You used to say, I'm up to here, right? No, they're fed up. Way up. They're fed up, and then they know, they're already thinking, if these people piss me off, this is going to be what I do. To me, that's a major indicator that we're getting very close to shit hitting the fan. This is how wars are started, by the way. You would think, why did they do that? That ship was sunk. War? Over a ship? Can't we talk it out? Can't we figure it out? Can't they apologize and pay for the mess? No, you sink a ship and we're coming after you. It's an act of war and we're going to retaliate with bombs, missiles, rockets, and boots on the ground. That's how wars happen, right? It's all of these things are being viewed, even on the micro. Doing an NBA member doing a tweet is an act of war to the Chinese. The response is an act of war. They just cut them off, right? They kill it. They kill the deal. No EU bargaining types there. They just kill it. We're going to see something like this. Hopefully we don't see it in terms of military action. Nobody wants war, especially me. Especially you, I'm sure. Nobody wants to go to war and have our sons and daughters killed. Have other people's sons and daughters killed. But we could see more of this business, corporate, economic level SHTF reactions. We're going to see more of it. We're already seeing it now. But what are the consequences of that? We know what the consequences of calling off the China deal is. The market takes a shit. Right? Yesterday took a giant crap. Opens up, it's 300 down within an hour. You know, and it just gets worse from there, it seems. Right? A company like General Electric says we're cutting pensions. That happened this week. We're cutting pensions. What does that tell all the workers at General Electric? We don't value you, not the way you thought. And we need to make sure our profits are good. So GE stock went up while company morale, you bet it took a shit. You find out who's expendable and who's not. So let's just assume they cause shit to hit the fan. Combination of military, government decisions, corporate ideas, economic factors, and we go into shit hits the fan light. On the street, in front of our houses, this is where the rubber meets the road for us as individuals. There's not going to be, you stick your head out the door and you go, hey, get off my lawn, right? Curb your dog. Whatever you yell, it's not going to be that person walking away. We could end up seeing very swift reactions to the actions. And we can use words and get back physical responses. You see, so you're not going to get a tit for tat. You're going to get a bullet for tat. Right? A little transgression, a little confrontation is going to result in a lot of response. And again, we can look here, right? I'll just start small, right? Let's just go back to the EU again. The European Union wants to talk a little bit of smack about Boris Johnson, but he's got a big stick and he can cost them a lot of money, in the billions, by Britain, by the UK, just saying, no deal Brexit, you don't get a deal, we're just backing out, no more money for you, F you. That's what can happen as a result of some trash talking by EU members about Boris Johnson. You know, and this is where Trump, our president, needs to be careful. He loves to talk. And I think he's very calculating, very smart, but also very blunt. And everyone knows that, but he can come out and he can do a lot of damage with just a couple of words. But equally so, a couple of his sharp words could end up with what? Massive consequences. So this much Trump talk, you know, Trump trash talking, could end up in this much response from a company like, or a country like China, or from companies who say, we're just not going to do business, we're backing out, right? But as more countries back away and say, we're not doing business, all other countries, they're isolating themselves and isolating us. We're isolating ourselves as a country. When shit hits the fan, let's go back to you and I again. We're going to need, if we can, in our communities, our neighborhoods, cooperate with each other. You know, play nice. One little action, one little comment is going to result in people going, you know what, F you, and backing away. And there'll be less cooperation, more tension, more friction, more difficulty. So we need to understand that as we go into shit hits the fan, as we're there, as we work through it, right? The action and reaction time is going to be very, very fast. And I think the commentary is, how long does it take to get to shit hits the fan? Well, it takes a long time to get there, then all at once it happens. Right? It's not the lead up that people pay attention to. It's the event itself. Right? People go, everything was fine, and then the power went out because the terrorists blew up the power lines in 10 different places in the United States. Well, it wasn't fine, really. Just there was a lot of things happening, and then this is a what if. What if the power was cut in 10 different places in the United States, plunging us all into darkness? Well, that would be very, very, very bad because everything relies on the internet, relies on electricity, etc. So the lead up to that, what caused it? What allowed all the pieces to come in place? What happened? It happens like that, and that's when everyone notices it. But the situation that caused it, all of the hurt feelings, all of the reactionary response, it manifested all at once, but it had been occurring for months and years and years. Everything is action-reaction. Now it's just getting much faster. Like I said, everything's fine, then shit hits the fan, happens all at once. It's going to take everyone by surprise. And then the actions they're going to take when times are tense, when everyone is desperate, there are going to be instantaneous reactions. And trust me, they're not going to be good reactions. People aren't going to be yelling at each other and then go, damn it, throw their gun down, go grab a donut and give it to someone else and go, take that. I love you, man. Have a donut. No, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be violent and it's going to be negative. I'm drinking from my Faith, Hope, and Charity mug. Because that is what I wish for mankind. But because I don't think mankind can get there very easily, you have to be a prepper. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Thank you for supporting the Prepared Mind channel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I have a lot of hope and a lot of faith that we can get through this. It's going to take a lot of charity. It's going to take a lot of good thoughts, a lot of good karma, a lot of prayer. It's also going to take us being aware that you're not going to get due notice when someone decides to do something bad to you. Before, during, and after shit hits the fan. People are taking swift action. There's swift consequences now for the mistakes that we make. Right? Well, let's just go back. The NFL. That take a knee crap. Yeah, I understand. It's their political commentary, but it doesn't belong on a football field. The consequences of that weren't swift. The reaction Americans had was kind of dull. It took weeks and weeks for them to realize, F you, NFL. But China, now, this year, not a couple years ago, not last year, this year, one tweet from one player, not everybody, one tweet, one player dead in China. That's the difference between now and just a couple of years ago. The response people, governments, organizations have. Is this evidence we're getting closer to shit hits the fan? I would argue yes. People are more nervous, they're more pissed, they're more reactionary, they're more defensive about everything, and it's a strong lesson for us to learn. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.